Hello and welcome to the Needle Creations Crochet Video Workshop. We're here to show you how to do some techniques along with some tips on how to create your crochet project. This segment is on a crochet Highland cow and his name is Hollis. These little amigurumi kits are just adorable. Everything you need comes within the kit. Let's open this up. You have your fiber fill and your yarn is packaged. You have a plastic crochet hook, a plastic needle, the bell to go around his neck, and his eyes. Instruction sheet. You will also need a pair of scissors and a tape measure. There's a great set of instructions. The skill level is listed as intermediate. Make sure that you understand your instructions before you begin and practice the stitches being used so that you don't become overwhelmed working on your project. Your kit will come with a 3.5 millimeter hook. It may be white, it may be blue. Many of us have our favorite hook, but we recommend you use the hook that comes with this kit to maintain gauge or the tension of your fabric so you won't run out of yarn. There's 5 different areas to a hook: the head, the throat or the neck, the shaft, the thumb rest, and then the handle. You can hold it like this, or you can hold it like this. The head of the hook is smaller and pointed, so it makes it easy to go in, but your stitch should always be equal with the shaft part of your hook, and that also will help you with your gauge. Many crochet instructions will include a gauge check before you begin. Having the correct tension, which is how tight or loose you crochet, is important to your project coming out to the correct size and will ensure that you don't run out of yarn. You'll single crochet a swatch and you'll count the number of rows and stitches across to make sure that it matches what your instructions say. Also on your instructions, you're going to see your abbreviations. Make sure you understand each one, the colors of the yarn, the various stitches. If you have to repeat any instructions, you will see an asterisk or brackets, then your other abbreviations. Each instruction sheet will have great graphics on what stitches are used for this project. If you need a refresher to practice any of them, please check our crochet stitches video. Now we're going to begin with the head, and on this project everything is worked in the round. So we're going to begin with a slip knot on our hook, chain 2, and then you're going to place 6 single crochet in that second chain from the hook. Two, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I work over that tail, pull it so it will tighten the center and you won't have a large hole. Now make sure you can identify your stitches. You have 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to slip stitch to that first stitch. So you're going to insert your hook through the stitch, pull a loop through both. That's a slip stitch, and pull it to tighten. So you're going to chain 1. Now we're going to increase on the second round. Place 2 single crochet stitches in each stitch. So that will give you 12 stitches. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Again, it's important to learn how to identify your stitches, so you're going to count them to make sure you have 12. And if you take a look at your work, you will see that this looks like a stitch right here. This is not a stitch, so learn to identify what that is. That is where you slip stitched your first round together. So you're going to have this on each round. Also, the next one up from that may look like a stitch. That's your chain one. You don't work in that either. This is your actual first stitch. Again, we're going to slip stitch this together. And this is how you join every round. You're going to slip stitch it, pull it tight so you don't have a big gap. Chain one. Now on the next round, we're going to continue to increase 6 stitches evenly round. So we're spacing 6 stitches out. In your instructions, you're going to see where that is in a bracket. So we're going to single crochet 1, 2 single crochet in the next. You repeat that 6 times. That's what the bracket means. So again, we're going to single crochet, 2 single crochet. That's 2 times. Three, 4, 5, and 6. And again, count your stitches, make sure you're learning how to identify the stitches, join to that first stitch with a slip stitch. Continue increasing 6 stitches each round following the instructions till you get to round 6, where you're going to single crochet evenly around, and on round 7 you're going to place markers for your eyes. You'll have 30 stitches. Now what I like to use for markers, take a different color of yarn, so you can use a little bit of the tan, cut several inches. See if you can identify your rounds. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to place markers. So based on the instructions, on round 7, it says to single crochet in 11 stitches. So we're going to chain 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is where you're going to place your first marker. And I just lay it over there, over your work. Continue on, single crochet in the next 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Place your second marker and complete your round. You'll have 30 single crochet stitches. After you've placed your markers for your eyes, you're going to work another round. At this point, this is something that I like to do. If you see in the instructions where it says weave in ends, this will prevent any kind of a fray out, or keep your center where the beginning is here to keep it closed. Take the tail and just weave it through stitches, pull to tighten. And that makes a nice closure. So now we're going to start decreasing 6 stitches each round. This is round 9. We're going to begin with chain 1, and again this is in brackets, and then we're going to single crochet in 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to decrease over the next 2 stitches. So you're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and through all 3. That is a decrease. So we've done that 1 time. And again, as I said, it's in the brackets. So you're going to repeat that step 6 times. So you're decreasing 6 stitches. We're going to single crochet 3, and decrease. That's twice. And then continue following the instructions, decreasing, and then on round 14 and 15, working the stitches evenly. And until you're familiar with identifying your stitches, always count each round. Here is your completed head. You can see where you're joining in the back. I like to place my eyes at this point. So you can see the eyes are like little plastic screws, and there's a cup that attaches them. So what I suggest you do, place your eye through where your first marker is. Pull it out. You can turn this. Take your plastic cup, it looks like a cup or a bowl. Place it over and just pop it into place. And now we have the head with the eyes placed. Following the instructions, you're going to continue to work the body, your legs, your arms, horns, the tail, and the ears in the same manner, beginning in the round, working increases and decreases, shaping your pieces. Now on the legs and the arms, you're going to have a color change. So I've begun this up through round 5. To change color, you're going to work that last stitch, and before you join, you're going to take your next color, pull it through for your slip stitch. And then I like to just tie it to secure it. Clip off your first color. Continue with your next color. Again, now what I like to do also is hold the tail of that color, change, and work over it. So you're going to be working your stitches over that. And as before, just continue working in the round per the instructions on your increases and decreases for your shaping. All right, now a little tip I would like to give you to create the black stitching for the hoofs. This one is an arm. After you've done a few rounds, it may be easier for some of you to turn it inside out at this point. Based on your instructions, you're going to do your stitching over the beginning 6 rounds. I like to keep my joining round to the back as much as possible. Bring your black thread through and just tie it off. Make sure it's a good secure knot. Trim your ends. And then continue on making the piece that you're working on. Or, if you've already finished it, if you find it difficult to turn it inside out at this point, you can tie this on the front very carefully. Insert your hook and pull it through. Very carefully pull this around. That may pull the rest of it in. There we go. And use your hook or your needle end to just poke your ends in. All right, now as I've said, all the pieces are worked in the round. The nose is also worked in the round, however, it's not a circular round. It's a little bit different. So we're going to start with a slip knot on our hook. You're going to be working on both sides of the chain. So we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you're going to place 3 single crochet in that second chain. So there's 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3. You're going to place 3 single crochet in that last chain. Kind of work over your tail. 1, 2, 3. And in the instructions it says working on the opposite side of the chain. So you can see here where we're going to turn and we're going to work in these loops. That's the additional loop on your chain. So we're going to single crochet in 3. 1, 2, 3. So you have 3 single crochet on the top and the bottom with 3 single crochet on each end. And again, identify your stitches. You're going to have 12 stitches working around. So this is more of an oval. Join in your first stitch with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then you're going to 2 single crochet in the next 3. So that's increasing 3 stitches on each end. So you'll have a total of 6 stitches that you've increased, so that'll give you 18 stitches. And then 3, and then we're going to increase again. And then work your last 3 and join. And then following the instructions, you have a couple more rows to work. And here's your nose. Now the nose piece will have nostrils and a mouth stitched on it. Make sure you weave in this tail. I've already done that, so I'm going to clip this off. Keeping the joining to the bottom or the lower edge, we're going to place our nostril stitches over the ends of that first round. And it'll explain that in the instructions. Now at this point I like to tie it off just to hold it in place. And come over to the opposite end. And you can place these nostrils closer together if you like. And then at the same time, just come down 1 row, covering a couple of stitches right between there, and stitch your mouth. We have 2 arms, 2 legs, the head, the body, the nose piece, the tail, horns, and the ears. And we've cut our fringe for the tail and the head. Now that everything's completed, we're going to sew Hollis together. I'm going to begin with the head and the body. First of all, I like to fluff out the fiber fill, it's so condensed within this package. Fluff it out a little bit. It's been so packed that I like to kind of air it out. So grab a piece and start stuffing. I use my thumbs. And you don't want a large piece to begin with because you want to try to shape the head as you're going. You want it firm, but not overly stuffed, because that will stretch your stitches. Now I'm going to stuff the body. Okay, now you have a tail on both pieces, and they both have the same amount of stitches going around. There's 12 stitches on the head and 12 stitches on the body. So you're going to place the head, keeping your seams to the back. Stitch this together, stitch by stitch. At this point, make sure you have enough fiber fill in the neck area so the head's not too wobbly. You want the body sturdy so you can sew your arms and your legs, and so it'll set up. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, I've completed that. I'm going to take a couple of stitches with the other tail from the body. And make sure that is secure. I believe so. We're going to run that down through the second one. And I don't clip these yet. I leave these just in case I'm not happy with the way this has looked after I've sewn it up. I've got an opportunity to pull the tail out and restitch if necessary. So there we have the head and the body. It's starting to look like a cow. Okay, now we're going to stitch on our nose. What I found easiest to do is to just use your tail, run a gathering thread through every couple of stitches around the edge, in and out of your stitches on that last round. And I do think this will help you shape it a little bit better and position it on the head. So once we've done that, we're going to pull it in just a little. Lightly stuffed, so add just a little bit of fiber fill. And as the instructions say, position it between rounds 9 and 13. Between the eyes, there's 15 rounds on the head, so there we go. And we're just going to stitch by stitch, holding it in place. And this would probably be easier as you're sitting and holding it in your lap. I'm trying to hold this out here on a table. Keep it straight. Stop and check to make sure you're holding it in position so it's not crooked. I have done this, and makes it easy to just pull the weaving tail out and stitch again. If you have any plastic pins, it might help to pin it in place before you start stitching. I sometimes use my crochet hook. Work this all the way around. I'm going to run that thread to the back and just leave that. Now we're going to stuff the horns with a little fiber fill, just a little bit, and these are so tight that it's easiest to just use the end of your crochet hook, just a little bit in there, curve them. The horns will be stitched on each side of round 4. So you're counting up here, round 1, 2, 3, 4. Position a horn to the side, just above the eye. Hold that in place, stitch around. We have our horns stitched. Now we're going to stitch on the ears, the arms, and the legs. Now I've kept all of my ends to the back in case I needed to rip anything out and restitch it. I've secured them, clip them. Use your hook or your needle to just kind of poke your little ends in. For your fringe, this is where your tape measure comes in. You need 36 3-inch pieces of yarn for the head fringe and 16 3-inch pieces for the fringe on the end of the tail. I have my pieces already cut. You're going to insert your hook on a stitch on round 1. So this is round 1 right here. So we're going to insert our hook. We're going to fold a yarn piece in half, pull that through, and then pull through the end. Let's do that again. Go into the next stitch, pick up a piece of yarn, fold it in half, pull it through. Pull to tighten, and you'll be trimming this after you complete. Working on rounds 1 through 3 on the top of the head, you're going to place 36 pieces for the fringe. And the head fringe is complete. The fringe on the end of the tail is done in the same manner, only we're going to fray it out a little bit. And the way you fray it out, I've already started some of it here. You're going to take your needle and pull your strands apart. This will take you just a little bit of time because you want to fray them all out. If you have a toothbrush or a little wire brush, you can also brush it. That helps. And if you want to just shake it a little bit, there's your fringe. Trim it up. And we'll attach the tail. I've doubled a length of yarn, and your plastic needle will not go through the hole in the top of the bell, but try to push it through. There we go, like that. Be careful, because you see I'm pulling it already. There we go. Position it on its neck. Tie it. Now I'll take the yarn ends, instead of clipping it right here and having the knot possibly come out, I'll run my ends through to the lower portion of the body. And now I'll clip them. Now Hollis is complete. And if you have any questions, you can contact us via email, help@askacrafter.com. I love to crochet.